Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing okay and welcome back to Music Lessons Live here on the New Wave Arts Facebook page with me, Ollie. As I always mention, these videos will be going up onto YouTube afterwards as well as staying on the Facebook page, and for those schools who have asked, it will be going up onto your online resource pages as well. So if you're tuning in for the first time today, first of all, big hello. Second of all, is we have been learning a new song this week and on a different instrument. We are returning, of course, to the guitar, and the song this week that we've been learning is the Bare Necessities from the Jungle Book. If you haven't already, I'd seriously encourage you to go and watch part one that we did on Monday, where we went over the first verse and some of the chords and rhythms that we're going to be using in the song. If you're tuning in for today, just carry along for now, as we will be learning the second part today, and then afterwards you can go and check out that first video. So in today's session we are going to be doing it's almost like verse 2, I'd say, and we've got a couple of new chords in that, but the rhythm is relatively the same as to what we learned on Monday. So if you haven't already, make sure you've got the tab up in front of you. For those of you who don't have that at home, I'm going to put that up in the comments now so you can open it up. If you aren't able to open it for whatever reason, I'm just going to lower my camera ever so slightly. If you can't open that up for whatever reason, make sure you've got a piece of paper or and a pencil and a rubber at hand to write in some of the chord patterns as well as some of the chord charts. Chord charts, I've done this in our first video that I did, going over how to read them as well as how to write them. They're a really good and useful tool when it comes to writing in chords to make it nice and easy for you when you're playing through them. So definitely go and check out that video if you haven't already. If you are playing on a different instrument, just make sure you know kind of the chords that you need to play on your instruments, or if you want to throughout the session you can pause me, you can go and have a little look at the chord or the note that you need to play on that instrument, and then you can kind of come back and dip in and out as we go along. Right, enough of me talking. I'm going to show you now the first part, or sorry, the second verse, the parts for the second verse now. So it's going to sound something like this. So that is the part that we're learning for today. Not a lot going on. It's a relatively easy little section. So what are the chords that we are using today? As always, in these videos, I'll go through the chords, then the strumming pattern, and then we'll have a little play along at the end. If you tuned in on Monday, we've got a lot of the same chords again. If it's the first time, the first chord that we've got today is called G7. So G7 has got a similar shape on the guitar to a C chord, and all you've got to do is you've got to take your third finger or your ring finger. You're going to place it on the third fret of the E string here. Then you take your second finger or your middle finger, you place it on the second fret of the A string here. Then you take your first finger and you stretch all the way over to place it on the first fret of the high E string. And then you're strumming all those strings. And that is G7. Okay? So if you haven't, make sure you check out my videos with when we're going through the different frets and different strings as well, because that's going to be super helpful. So that's, first of all, G7. If you're getting something like this, or okay, lots of buzzing going on, there's a couple of reasons there. So the first one is you've got to make sure that your thumb is coming right down in the middle of the neck here, or even below if you need to really stretch over. to make sure you've got enough of a gap in between your hand and the neck of the guitar. Second of all is you need to make sure you're playing right on the tips of your fingers, okay? Make sure you're pressing down nice and hard as well. Okay, if you're getting these little like pressure lines on your fingers, that means it's working. That means you're pressing down hard enough, getting that nice sound on the notes that you're pressing down on. And third of all is you want to make sure that your fingers aren't touching any other strings, okay? And that can be a little bit difficult when you're playing for the first time. So please, please, please give yourself time to practice this, making those little micro adjustments until you get that perfect chord sound. And again, be honest with yourself. Can I hear all those notes nice and clearly? If not, make those adjustments and get it sounding really, really good. So that is G7. And then we go to C. So C is we take our third finger or our ring finger, we place it on the third fret of the A string. We take our second finger, we place it on the second fret of, or our middle finger, we place that on the second fret of the D string. Then we take our first finger or our index finger, we place it on the first fret of the B string. And all we're doing is we're playing from A to E. We're not playing this low one here. Okay, if we do, it doesn't sound quite as nice. So we're just playing from A. Again, make sure you're getting that nice clear chord sound. A little pro tip, when you're going from G7 to C, your third and second finger, your ring and middle finger, are moving down a string, whilst your first finger is moving up a string. So really, the movement should be pretty small between those fingers, okay? So keep those movements nice and small. It's going to make it easier for you at home when you want to make those quick chord changes. Okay, so we've got G, we've got C. We go back to G7, then we go to C, and then we add C7 in. C7 is a nice, easy chord. All we got to do is we've got to take our fourth finger, our pinky finger, and we're just going to place it on the third fret of the G string. So making that C chord shape, then pinky finger, fourth finger on the third fret of the G string, and then you play that. Okay, it's got that nice kind of jazzy sound to it. So G7 to C, G7 to C, to C7. Then we go to F, okay, F major. Now there are a few ways to play F major. Some people like to play it like this, when you play all the strings. Some people like to play it like this, when you're just playing four of the strings. I'm going to show you the simpler version for today. If you know the more complicated version, so that's doing a bar across the whole strings and then using your fingers up here, you want to have a go at that, please do, feel free. But I'm just going to show you that simpler version for today, which I think is going to be a chord better suited for everyone to be able to play. And if you don't know this little version as well, there you go. You get to learn another way how to play the F major chord. So all we do is we take our third finger and we place it on, or our ring finger, we place it on the third fret of the D string here. We take our second finger or our middle finger, we place it on the second fret of the G string, which is right here. And then we take our first finger and we do a little technique called barring, so where we're pressing down on multiple strings with one finger, usually our index finger or our first finger. And all we're doing is we're pressing down on the E and B string, okay? And we're using kind of this part of our finger up to our first joints, okay? And you want to as well try and use the side of your finger, so you're almost like swiveling it to the side, okay? Because when we use the flat part of our finger is quite soft, okay? And that's not good when we want to press down on strings, because all that's going to happen is our fingers just going to sink into the strings and we're not going to get that clear sound. However, the side of our finger, okay, it's quite bony, it's quite hard. It means when we press down, we're going to get that nice kind of pressing down motion with the strings, it's going to sound a lot more clearer. So if you can, try and swivel your finger around a little. There's another little pro tip to help you get that nice clear chord sound. Again, we're only starting strumming from the D string here. We're not playing E or A, because if you did that, it wouldn't sound quite right, okay? So it's just those 4 strings there. So that's F major. Then we've got F minor. F minor, all we do is keeping that shape, keeping that F major chord shape, is we're taking away our middle finger or our second finger, and we're changing it. So we're barring down now on the first fret of G, B, and E. So you've got all those 3 strings there that you need to be barring down on. And you can feel the change as well in that chord. It's going from major, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, that happy sounding chord, to the sad minor chord. Another little pro tip, have your first finger already down on those 3 strings. If you do, all you're going to move is that second finger, that middle finger. Okay, making it nice and easy for us, because what we're doing is we're taking away another movement of having to move your first finger over and moving your second finger away. That's 2 big movements you got to make there. If you've already got that finger down, you've only got to make 1 movement. So again, it's thinking about how we can make this easier for us to play at home. Right, I'll quickly recap all the chords so far. So we've got G7 to C, G7 to C, to C7, F, F minor, then we go back to C, then we go to D7. Okay, D7, much like G7 on the ukulele in the way we have to shape our fingers, doesn't sound quite the same, but it's got that similar kind of shape. If you play ukulele, that is what you do is you take your second finger or your middle finger, you place it on the 2nd fret of the G string here. You take your first finger, you place it on the 1st fret of the B string here. Then you take your 3rd finger, you're going to tuck it underneath and place that on the 2nd fret of the E string here. So you're getting that nice triangle shape with your fingers, okay? And then you're playing from D here. And that's all the notes that we're playing for today. Some people like to do this different ways. Some people like to put their first finger down and then their second finger and then their 3rd finger. Some people like to put the 3rd finger, 2nd finger, and then 1st finger. It's entirely up to you and entirely how you want to do it at home. But again, the most important thing is getting that nice, clear chord sound. Okay, so that is D7. Another little pro tip, you're going from C to D7. They share the same note. So you've got to press down your first finger on the 1st fret of the B string on both C and D7. So if you keep your first finger there, again taking away some movement that you have to make. Very important. So that is all the chords. I'm going to recap them one more time, just for anyone at home who hasn't been able to get the tab up and can make a few little notes. Then we're going to go through the rhythm. So let's quickly go through it one more time. So we've got G7 to C, G7, C, C7, F, F minor, C, D7. There you go. Those are all the chords for today. Now, there is a little simpler version. So if you at home think, I'm not going to be able to get all those chords straight away, there is a simpler version that you can play. So all you're doing is you're just taking away that C7 to make it a little bit easier for yourself at home. Each of these chords is on the first line Each chord is 4 beats long. So if you want to, you can just take away that C7. Hello to Fiona at home, who's just said hi. Hello. What we're going to try and do now is we're going to try and look at the rhythm now. If you tuned in on Monday, the rhythm is basically the same. So the rhythm goes something like this. It goes down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up. Okay? If that is boggling your mind at home, there is a simpler rhythm I'm going to show you in a moment. But the rhythm, as I just said, is down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So there's 2 parts to our rhythm. Time, so how we're going to count it out, and then when we're striking the strings on our instruments, okay, or when we're playing those notes. The time for us, the time signature that we're doing is a 4/4 time signature. So we're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's how we're going to count out. Rhythm is we're going down, down, up, down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I know I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But I know, and some people have mentioned it in the last video, is it was more like down, 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm doing it twice in those 4 beats. Okay, basically it's very, very quick, and if you really want to get into the technicalities of it, is we are actually playing something called semiquavers on the guitar. So the reason I'm counting a little slower is for those of us who don't know what semiquavers are at home, it's just going to be a little bit easier for us to get that rhythm sounding really, really good. So if I'm counting it a little bit different, it's just to make it a little bit easier for you at home. So again, it is down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so practice that at home. In my previous video, I did put up in the comment section the rhythm that you can copy down on a piece of paper. Simpler version though, if you're thinking this is going to be too much, all you've got to do is play on beats 1 and 3. So you're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So just strumming down on beats 1 and 3. So the first line, nice and easy, each chord is 4 beats long until we get to that C to C7 where they're 2 beats. So for the first part, you're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The second line, each chord is 2 beats long. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, I'll quickly repeat that for those of us who are writing this down at home. So first line, first set of chords, 4 beats long. When you get to C to C7, those chords are 2 beats long. And then on the second line, F, F minor, G, D7, all 2 beats long there. Right, we're going to have a go at playing this now. We're going to have a go at putting what we've done into practice. If you're thinking, Ollie, this is going too quickly, pause me, have a little moment to practice, rewind, and then try and join me at the end playing all the way through. As I said, these videos will be going up onto YouTube, that we're staying on the page, so you've got plenty of time to practice, giving yourself the best chance to have a go and get it sounding really, really good. If you're feeling confident though and you want to have a go at playing, we're going to go through it all the way through now. If you want to as well, you can play that simpler rhythm. You can play that simple chord pattern. So you're just taking out that C7. So there you play C for 4 beats. And yeah, let's give it a try. So we're going to try playing part 2 now. As I always say, we take it nice and slow at the start to give ourselves best chance when we're doing those chord changes. And yeah, I'm going to do my 4-beat counting at the start so we can kind of get used to the timing, and then we're going to give it a go. Right, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and G7 to C, back to G7, 1 and 2 and 3. That simpler version. C, C7, 2 beats for each chord now. F, 2, 3. So F minor, C, D7. Well done if you're able to play that little section at home. Okay, not too easy, especially when you're going on to that second line where the chord pattern kind of speeds up and gets quicker. Okay, so very well done if you're able to play at home. So we've gone through verse 1 now. We've done verse 2, which is a little bit shorter as well, not as much repetition. Friday, we're going to learn the final part of the bare necessities, and I'm going to show you as well what you need to play on some of the other verses and other kind of choruses as well, because I know the tab that I've put in is quite short, and the song in the movie is a little bit longer. So I will show you what you'll need to play in those other parts. But I think for ease and for time as well, we'll just go through over what we've got in the tab. So I hope you've enjoyed this session today. As I mentioned, the next one will be Friday at 10 a.m. All these videos will stay up on the Facebook page, so you've still got a little bit of time to practice, and they'll be going up onto YouTube. And for those schools who have asked, it will be going onto your online resource pages as well. So I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you all on Friday at 10 a.m. for part 3, the final part, and for the whole play along of the song as well. So I hope you have a lovely day today, guys, and I'll see you all on Friday.